hosting about darkness. Anyway, while there's some textures out there, it's fixed. Sorry. Uh, I would like to thank overall Hello Paxo.
Hello, hello.
I would like to really thank you for basically helping us out after the small mistake done from uh, the small little mistake. Let's just say it that way. If not you, it would be to say at least painful to work with. So again, thank you so much for small sort of unplanned run, for being able to not only come up with it, not only being ready to help us out, but also be prepared to do that.
Yeah, no, absolutely not a problem. I mean, it's yeah, these kind of things happen, but on the plus side, it means we get to kind of showcase Harry Potter years 5 through 7, which is always a fun category. And I think it's been a while since we've showed this game off, kind of in its raw form at Potterthon. So this is a very good run nonetheless, and it'll be great to show it off. I'll just have to kind of fight through the rust I have in this game while playing it.
So, just out of curiosity, I would like to ask, what does any percent restricted mean, basically, throughout the rule set?
Yeah,
Since you said,
sorry, yeah.
yeah, since you said it was technically not any percent, but any percent restricted, I'm curious to hear the story and the difference.
Yes. So any percent as a whole is obviously beating the game as quickly as possible, beating 8-6, which is the final level, as quickly as possible. However, in this game in particular, the higher your FPS gets, you can do insanely like yeah, insanely different strats. So if at any point you're pausing the game with VSync off, and in the pause menu your FPS gets above 1200, your falling speed, if you're falling in the air, will like reset. So basically, if you have a good enough PC, you can effectively gain infinite horizontal distance by spamming the pause button. That is not, although it is a very cool piece of tech, it is obviously not accessible to many people. So the restricted category was created to kind of reduce the impact of that trick across different parts of the run. There's also a couple of other things, a couple of kind of really inconsistent launches, which fall under that kind of, I guess, quote unquote ban that's in the restricted category. But it's the same kind of concept. It's just a lot more accessible for a lot more people.
Oh, that's an interesting story, I must admit. A little bit the category anti hardware dependence in some sort of way, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
But uh, I think without further ado, if you're of course ready, we can start the run up.
I certainly am. Oops, I didn't mean to drop out that. Okay.
The,
So,
the
yeah, time will start once I confirm my save file. So I'll just get myself back to the menu now. What save file should we go for? Let's go for save file 4. That's looking good today. Yeah, so time will start when I press OK here. So I'll count it down from 5 in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Good luck.
Thank you, thank you. And yeah, so this is a very nice run because the route for this run in particular is going to be a bit all over the place, which I'll explain kind of as we get all the way through it. But obviously, we start off as every LEGO game starts off with the very first level. There's kind of no way of avoiding this level. We have to play through it. But that's fine because this level is pretty cool. This is 5-1 or Dark Times. And we start off with a bit of a precise jump to get up to this upper level here. And we have our first skip in this room here. You're meant to take out these Dementors with Harry, but just by running along the side with Dudley, if you only have one player dropped in, that saves a decent chunk of time. And then the base concept of this first level in particular is we need to get as much money as we possibly can, as many of these studs as we possibly can. Each silver stud we get is worth 10, each gold stud is worth 100, each blue stud is worth 1,000, and then any purple studs we have are worth 10,000. And basically, in very early game, we will be buying a spell known as Glacius, which is the ice spell. It freezes your character, because that spell is incredibly broken and allows you to clip through a lot of walls, which, as you can probably imagine, would be very useful for a speedrun. But as a result of that, we've got to get as much money as possible in early game. So the way we are going to do that is, yeah, grinding all the studs, collecting all the studs when we can. You see I'm already at about 50,000 as we then go to complete the section. I just need these to click in the right place. We've got one more bit which we need to get here. Can I remember how to do this? That's the question. Ah, yes, no, we hit this shed. That's it. It has been a while since I played this. Okay. But yes, we build this hammer here. And we get this small camera pan. And yeah, one of the other pieces of tech, which you're going to see very soon in this game right here, is what's known as a drop-in camera pan skip. So what I'm going to do is, as this camera pan starts, you'll see the character icons moving up, but I drop in and interrupt that. And by doing that, we're able to move kind of way earlier than we technically should be able to in that camera pan. And save a lot of time as a result, kind of cumulative across the run. Each time it only saves like 10-15 seconds, but across the whole run, that really adds up. That adds up a lot. And as we now go into this room, we will have another tech here, which is known as a stored super jump. If you are watching the Harry Potter Years 1 through 4 run, you would have seen this tech as well. I need to remember where it comes from. I think it's there. Yeah. And what we have now is Harry is forced to do a super jump, and that allows us to basically preserve that state where he's in that jump state, and we can use that to go straight past this barrier here and just go straight through this room, which is a very nice time save to have. We'll be doing that again pretty soon as well once we get player 2 over here. We will build this aeroplane, I think. We do another dropping camera pan skip here. This one's a bit more subtle to see. Actually, yeah, we won't do another super jump here. Instead, focus on collecting as much money as we can and then head to the door. But yes, we will be then completing this level. This is the final room of this level. Couple of things we have to keep aware of here. I did switch to 30 Hz refresh rate because for some reason that allows fixing things to be significantly quicker. As to why, your idea or your guess is as good as mine. It's just, you know, Lego games doing Lego things, but for some reason that's tied to FPS, but slower is faster. Like lower FPS is faster. A lot of places in this game, higher FPS is faster, but there's a couple where lower FPS is faster. And that is the first level done. And I believe we had a question in chat about whether restricted means all levels. Absolutely not. We are going to see kind of after the next lesson, things are going to go all over the place. This is a lot of kind of calm before the storm, I'd say, with this run. But yeah, we start off here. And of course, we now have to make our way down Diagon Alley. We'll be doing so with Ron and Harry, who will be returning to Hogwarts for for their 5th year, because this game starts in year 5. And again, trying to get as much studs as possible. We need to hit 110,000 studs. by the time we end the next lesson. And it looks like we are well on track for that, which is always a good sign. I'm going to drop out here because we have another dropping camera pan skip here. Actually, it's just after this cutscene. So we will do this. And then as we get onto the other side here, we can drop in and then immediately we gain movement. And can make our way down through this kind of, I guess, Hogsmeade entrance area, but not really. We make our way down and we need to kind of prepare this cart for the Thestrals. And then we jump in it. And can, yeah, make our way down down here as we enter Hogwarts for year 5. And yeah, it is also worth saying, I would really like it if we could hit $200 this run. I think that would be a really good incentive to hit. We are very close, only $20 away, so any donations are obviously very greatly appreciated throughout throughout this marathon. It goes to a fantastic cause as well, being the Trevor Project. So yeah, if
And of
you...
course,
Sorry, yeah.
sorry, I would like to remind what this Travel Project is about, because they're incredible people who are working on basically suicide prevention for young LGBTQ people with their support 24/7, which is incredibly important in phone line chat, text, and through their purposely built form. An incredible work, I must admit. Building something like that is hard, and even having multiple ways to connect to is on more surprising. And of course, really important is the effort towards public education, engage in advocacy efforts, and of course, developing researches. A really cool company, and of course, any money again towards such an important charity uh, is more than appreciated. Sorry again for uh, interrupting you, Paxo, giving back to you again.
No, not a problem. You're all good. All good. But yeah, absolutely. It's absolutely fantastic cause. And yeah, everyone, contributing to make, these kind of marathons happen as well, where, we can raise money for these charities is a fantastic human being. And yeah, anyone watching as well, supporting the stream, it's all very much appreciated. But yeah, back to the game. This is where things are going to get a little bit crazy because we are going to go shopping. Wahoo! But it's good shopping because we get to buy the most powerful spell in the game, which is our beloved Glacius. And the thing is with Glacius is it's an extra spell. As a casual player, it really doesn't do much. It doesn't like speed up anything. If anything, it kind of gets in the way in certain sections, to be honest. But well, we aren't casual players, so we'll get to be able to hopefully properly show off what this spell can do right here. We're going to be doing a trick known as freeze clipping. Once we give this spoon to this student, so we'll give the spoon here, and then we are going to clip through the door. And the way we do this is we use Glacius in conjunction with Lumos. So Harry is going to be on the Lumos spell. We're going to hit Harry with Lumos, and then, or hit Harry as he's starting the Lumos spell, and then interrupt that with Glacius. And then Harry switches off Lumos again, and then back onto it. And that puts us in this kind of infinite shaking state, which allows the character to go completely through walls. We'll see it again here through a slightly different method of me mashing to go through, like so. And just like that, we're in Weasley boxes, which, if you have played this game, Weasley boxes isn't actually a thing until near the end of year 5. I think you need to play all the way up to the 4th level of year 5 to be able to access this normally. But because we hit this door earlier than intended, or because we entered this room earlier than intended, the default state for this room is to immediately load Weasley boxes. So we can actually play this lesson way earlier than we're supposed to. And we're going to see here a small skip. I need to position this shield in such a way that we can jump up to the upper level, like so. And by doing that, able to save a little bit of time. Another camera pan skip there. And we're going to do another freeze clip here, which is that's what the tech is called when we use glaciers to go through the wall. So switch like so, go through the wall, or through the door in this case, and we are in the final room. That saves a little bit of time, and I believe means we can complete this section where otherwise we'd have to have learned to spell. So we're going to open these lamps at the back to build the 3 parts of the Weasley rocket, which I think if I remember from the story, destroys or interrupts the owls while Harry, Hermione, and Ron are taking the owls. So yeah, that was pretty clean, pretty nicely done. And yeah, this now means that we have a spell, or I guess an ability more than a spell, that we should not have for a while. Yeah, we shouldn't have this until the end of year 5. But unfortunately, we do have to go back to a tiny bit of normal here. Whoops. That wasn't ideal. Yeah, a tiny bit of normal here because we are going to open this door. But we can still clip through it if the game permits. Nah, it's not going to let me. Which means we have to deal with that invisible wall for a little bit. But it's fine because we can then go through and continue on our way. And we're going to go to Thestrals now. Thestrals is obviously it's intended that you do it in this order after Defense Against the Dark Arts banned. So it is, a little bit going back to linear, but we won't be there for long. Also with Thestrals, I will be going for a small skip. Before we even get into the level, I'm going to try rescuing this student in peril at the same time that we enter the room. So I'm going to free the student in peril now. And hopefully, when we come back out, that student in peril will resolve and will save a little bit of time on skipping skipping the kind of level complete thing that you normally get for Thestrals. But yeah, in this run, much like the last run, we are using a lot of 1P2C, so 1 player, 2 controllers. It's fairly common across LEGO that you do this quite a lot, mostly because of the insane time it saves. For this game, a lot of that time save comes in the form of the freeze clipping. I can't remember. Well, they are very difficult to do if you're playing with just 1 player, and have to be done a lot more manually. So it's certainly a lot better if you can skip them. Did I forget to give the first Thestral his thing? I did, didn't I? Okay, well, I've got to work my way back with Harry then. No, don't pick that up. That's bad. I need the fish back. Please, game. Hopefully it respawns back up here. Okay, there we go. For some reason, the chicken just spawned right by that Thestral. I have no idea why. But anyway, that is Thestrals done. And you see the collection animation gets overlapped by the fact we collected that student in peril. And yeah, we're now going to make our way somewhere completely different. We are going to year 6 now. we've done everything we need to do for the moment in year 5. It is time to head a little bit elsewhere. And yeah, basically, I guess while we're on a slightly longer walk to do it, because we had to get to the Aguamenti classroom for this, I can explain what's kind of going on here. Basically, the game exists in the overworld in 4 different states. You have your year 5 state, your year 6 state, your year 7 part 1 state, and your year 7 part 2 state. And most rooms will have a state in each of them. But if there's a room which isn't accessible in an earlier year, for example, if a room's not accessible in year 5, it won't have a state in that year to be able to save a little bit of memory. The flip side of that is that it means if you can find a way to enter that room, a lot of the time it'll load a completely different, or it'll load one of the other year states that it knows it has. So in this case, we enter the Aguamenti classroom, and its default state is year 6. Because this is when you do the lesson, which normally you do. I think it's after the 2nd level in year 6. So as a result of that, we're able to use this kind of door, and now everything in the game is saying we are in the year 6 state. Which means we can kind of move around the castle like that's the case. But we're not going to be in this year 6 state for long, because we have bigger and better things to do, which is getting to the year 7 state. Somewhat unbelievably. We jump around all over the place in this category. But yeah, this is why this isn't a doing all levels category. This is still jumping about all over the place, it's just not using as broken tech, or as, I guess, hardware dependent tech as the, main any percent category, the unrestricted any percent category. But yeah, we are now going to head to the Leaky Cauldron again, and we're actually going to do another freeze clip here. This might look a bit strange what we're doing, but what you need to know is if we're entering this door at the end of the Leaky Cauldron, we will start the first level in year 6, which we actually don't want to do, at least not right now, because if we start that first level of year 6, it becomes very hard to get to year 7. At least year 7 part 1. And year 7 part 1 is where we want to be right now. Unfortunately, this clip to get around is quite annoying. It doesn't like to work a lot of the time. There we go. So we actually go past that trigger and are now in year 6, past the 6-1 trigger when we should have started 6-1, because the doors are like layered behind one another. And we're going to clip through this unsuspecting diner. And this loading screen here is the year 7 specific loading screen, year 7 part 1 specific loading screen. And now, everything we do in this game, the game thinks we're in year 7, and it's going to be very obvious in that by the fact that it's raining and the light levels are a lot lower, kind of as we're walking through this overworld. And this means this time, when we enter this door, the door for year 7 part 1 is now present. We see once again, year 7 part 1 level 1 is now present. We see we get the year 7 loading screen. And yeah, we are now in year 7, at least doing the first level of year 7, a lot earlier than we should be doing it. And the reason why we want to do this early is because we want to get Apparition, as well as a couple of other things. The requirements for beating this game is to complete H6, so the final level in year 8. But the way we do that is a bit more, I guess, unconventional is the right word. Because the base requirements that the game requires for that is to have beaten 5-1, 6-1, 7-1, each of the first levels of each of the years, so that the boards can show up on the replay story screen and such. And then also each year tends to be pretty linear, so we have to play basically the entirety of year 8, or sorry, year 7 part 2, up to that point. But that means that we're able to skip quite a lot and jump around and skip quite a few things here and there, which is very cool, very fun. And it saves a considerable amount of time because we end up skipping 11 levels. We only play the first level in year 7, and we play the first 3 levels in year 5 and year 6. So we skipped 11 out of a possible 24 levels in this category. But you kind of have to jump around a bit to do so. Basically what we have is we have a shopping list of things we need to get before we can then take on year 8, or sorry, year 7 part 2. That big shopping list is a decent size. The things we need from year 7 are the Deluminator and Hermione's bag, both of which we've just collected. And then we also need Apparition. But that is all we need from year 7, so we don't need to progress through year 7 any further. I don't think year 7 actually gives you much else in terms of abilities. It is just those kind of few things. Okay, I need to remember to drop out because there's a camera pan here. Okay, the swan didn't launch to the stratosphere, that's good. Depending on what FPS you have, and if the swan gets caught on a piece of collision, that swan can completely launch up into the sky, but thankfully that hasn't happened here. We also get to take out these Death Eaters by watering them, because Aguamenti counts as a spell in this game and does just as much damage as any of your other spells in this game. There is, in this game, no difference between Stupefy and just throwing water at the Death Eaters, which I find kind of funny. And now we have Apparition. And the game is saying we should make our way to the diner, but we're not going to do that. Because although we have, everything we need to be able to go into the diner at this point, because we're in that right stage of year 7, we don't need to play year 7 anymore. So instead, we are going to head back into the Leaky Cauldron, because the door we set up to hit 6-1 earlier, the first level in year 6, still exists and is still kind of just hanging about there. So we use that as a method to go backwards, essentially, from kind of the later year to an earlier year. And that means we are more freely in year 6. And year 6 is a lot more kind of easy to move around. I do not need to be doing that. I need to do this instead. Dumbledore goes through the gate. Drop out like so. And then drop back in. And we'll be able to set up another freeze clip here. Normally you're supposed to build a strength potion to go through this door, but if the game will behave, we can go through like so. And then we're now in this inside section. We have Slughorn with us. And we have to build, like, I think it's 3 photos of, like, Slughorn's best students. We have to put them in their place. So Slughorn goes, you know what, maybe I am a good teacher. And then, yeah, that's this room complete. We have a one-try trick here, which is interesting. This one is known as Rocket Jump. And nice, we got it first try. Basically, standing on that rocket with Ron, and then jumping up onto, you can like ride that rocket up to the top and then fall off in such a way that you land back, or you land on that upper layer. That's a nice time save actually. That's quite a long section. I'm now going to be going this way with Harry, and we can leave the room kind of while that pseudo camera pan's still going, which saves a decent chunk of time. And yeah, as a result, we can make our way into kind of the main body of Year 6, I guess. I guess that's probably the best way of describing it. The main chunk of what's going on here. So we're going to be... Oh, I forgot which way around my characters are. I'm so used to Harry always being player 1. It always confuses me when he's not. But yeah, we're going to make our way on this train here and be heading to Spectrospecs. And this is the first time we see Spectrospecs in use. Basically, they let you kind of see invisible pieces in this game, which we will then use to build certain objects. We don't need them too much, but we need them enough so that we're able to, able to skip, or sorry, able to complete certain sections, which we wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So we get specs there, and yeah, we'll be heading back to Hogwarts main castle now. And we're going to do another freeze clip to get there. Technically, we can just use Spectrospecs, as we just learnt it, to be able to build the pieces in front of the gate, but that's slow compared to just phasing through a wall, you know? Who doesn't love just phasing directly through a wall in a giant block of ice? So we see, you might have caught it on that loading screen that we just had, but we are now back in Year 5. So back in Order of the Phoenix, and that's because we aren't quite done with what we want to do in Order of the Phoenix. We want to play the next 2 levels. So we're going to play 5-2, which is this one right here, where we're recruiting members of Dumbledore's army. And then we are going to be following that up with 5-3, where Snape gets in Harry's head. So yeah, this is a very kind of slow, but also incredibly technical level, because there's a lot of 1P2C here. 1 player, 2 controllers. I don't know how much I explained it properly in my last run, but the way I do 1 player, 2 controllers is kind of different to a lot of other LEGO runners, in all honesty. I have my player 1 controller on my lap. I use a PlayStation layout controller, so both the joysticks are kind of nearer the bottom. And then I like stretch my hand all the way across. Yeah, all the way across the controller. I just froze Luna. Whoops. Oh, I can still give her that. That's cool. But yeah, stretch my hand all the way across the controller. And then like use my thumb for joystick and fingers for pressing the buttons. Hermione through. Yay! Hermione clipped through early. That's nice. Small little time save there. And then my player 2, I hold it in my right hand like it's a normal controller, but instead of using my left hand and my left thumb to be able to move the second player, I use my chin. Which is actually, it's quite a controversial strat, I guess, in the LEGO community. Not many people enjoy doing it, but for some reason I've just found it works for me, so I've kind of stuck with it. But yeah, it's very important to be using it as much as possible during a level like this. And then I'm going to, once we've rescued everyone on the outside, clip through the door. I guess not rescued, recruited everyone on the outside. I'm going to try and clip through this door. This one can be a little bit finicky. This isn't the easiest door to clip through. There we go. And we're now inside the Hog's Head, recruiting members of Dumbledore's army. Like so. And what you might also notice I'm doing here is every time I'm, giving an item to one of these NPCs, I'm intentionally cycling to Lumos and off of Lumos. The reason is Lumos is incredibly useful because by activating Lumos, you'll skip an interaction with the NPC. Like you'll skip an animation and an interaction. And yeah, as a result of that, we're able to save a decent amount of time kind of built up throughout the run. I'm also going to multitask a little bit here. We're actually going to open up the door to the library earlier than we technically should. Because we have Aguamenti, we can open up the door to the library here. And then we'll go through it like so. And it should be, I didn't fully fill that library Aguamenti like receptacle, but it should be that it will be fully filled by the time we reload that room. We have a small freeze clip here if this works to get through the room of requirement. Okay, no dice this time. I guess we'll just walk in. Sometimes that works, sometimes that doesn't. And then we go into our dueling lesson. Dueling is a very core mechanic of the runs in this game. We don't use it too much, at least not in this state. But it's a very different, I guess, different and interesting mechanic that they threw in, especially the ability to shield, because we never do that. Like we have no need to do that in any other duel other than the one which teaches you it. But the idea with dueling is you have to pick the spell that matches with the person you're fighting and then win the mashing simulator against them. But we are now going to head down to Focus, which is Harry and Snape, or Snape going into Harry's memories, I guess. Once again, the door for starting that is just here in the common room. In year 5 in particular, in Order of the Phoenix, they like to use the common room as a starting point. But we'll get to see a very cool piece of tech straight up, which is another one of these stored super jumps. So we'll see it here. Harry's going to jump up here. And I think that position should work. Yeah, he jumps out of bounds because we force the super jump state. And then because of that, is able to, yeah, basically get out of bounds, and we skip that entire room. And do another Lumos animation cancel here. We also have one of the few places where Harry can actually freeze himself. Doesn't do anything, it's just fun, I like to do it. And then we go back to the dueling room here. Another camera pan skip here. We have one more guy we need to take on. And then another Lumos cancel on Cho once we give Cho the wand. And we will continue down here. Okay, once the game lets me build. Okay, it doesn't want me to build on Snape, that's fine. I never noticed that actually with this level, that it just doesn't let Snape do it. I always thought it would, but I guess because Snape's in Harry's memory, it's like a little bit weird. There's kind of different rules to it. But yeah, we finished this section by giving the paper plane or whatever it was. And then we have our final section here, where we just walk down and guess who's waiting for us at the end of platform 9 3/4? It's your boy. That is Lego Voldemort. If it wasn't easy to tell, I don't know how good the design is compared to the HP games. But yes, anyway, now we actually have some castle movement to do, because we have done everything we need to do in year 3 for the year 5 for the moment. We have one last thing left to do in year 5, which is go and follow the ghost into this next door, which is Defindo, where we can learn the Defindo spell. But we don't want to do that too early. We want to leave that door there, because if we enter that too early, too soon, we have no way of getting back to year 5. And we absolutely want to avoid that. So instead, we're going to go to year 6 first. And the way we're going to do that is we're going to ignore this ghost, but then also follow this ghost. We're going to go through this door, which hits a checkpoint, which for some reason tells the game that we've watched a cutscene, which we haven't. And the ghost will then allow us to follow him this way. And we can then enter the Draft of Death lesson. Normally you're supposed to give something to Slughorn to enter the lesson, but, well, when you can go through walls, why wouldn't you? Unless the game doesn't want me to go through walls, which is looking like a possibility right now. That's a really bad angle to set that up. There we go. Okay, so in this room, it'll be a lot more 1-player 2 controllers. Harry, of course, has the ability to use these Parseltongue puzzles. And also, I didn't mess up that Parseltongue puzzle either, which can be about 50-50 for me. Meanwhile, Ron is using Spectrospecs. There are a few characters who will just straight up refuse to use the Spectrospecs. From what I remember, I think Hermione might be one of them. Where even if you just try and activate the thing with Hermione, she'll just be like, nah, I'm good. But what we got to do is we got to build these items to go in the potion here, the Draft of Death. However, what I'm also going to do with Harry is time it so he collects a gold brick, which was just in the corner, so that we can kind of leave this room a bit quicker. It looked like we got it there just a little bit later than I'd maybe expect. And as a result, yeah, Draft of Death is now complete. And we will once again be ignoring this ghost, because nearly headless Nick right now will be trying to take us up the main staircase to get to Dumbledore's office. But the problem is we can't actually do that, because we don't have a spell which you should have at that point, which is... which one is it? It's Defindo. So instead, we kind of have to take this slightly different way round, where we go through this way, which is the way we opened up after dueling earlier. And we're also going to spawn this token. And on the way out of this lesson, we'll collect that token to save a little bit of time. But this is now Dumbledore's memory. So this is what Dumbledore remembers about recruiting Tom Riddle for Hogwarts. So we'll be going up here, doing a drop-in camera pan skip there again to skip a little bit of time. And yeah, this is a cool section. It's nice having these kind of flashback sections. And there isn't too much in the way of skipping we can do in these, because obviously we have one Muggle character, and that means that, you know, you can't go through walls or something, but it means we do kind of get these kind of dotted around. We have these like faster casual sections, which are quite cool, where Dumbledore leads the way, but our secondary character, I believe, is it Mrs. Coles? I think, maybe. It's been a while since I've been refreshed on my HP lore of this part, anyway. But yeah, that's Dumbledore's memories complete. And we are now going to leave to Diagon Alley. And this is a bit of a weird way of going around this. Basically, what we have to do now is make our way up to where the level 6-2 starts, which starts in the 3 broomsticks in Hogsmeade. But the way to get to the 3 broomsticks is a little bit convoluted, because we don't have the necessary items to take the normal way around. So instead, we actually go back to Diagon Alley and then take the train. So it's kind of a very roundabout way of doing things. But we'll take this train here, and we will now make our way to Hogsmeade as it's down this path. The problem is with the Hogsmeade entry is it requires a spell which we don't have, which is to use focus on this student and then give him an item of some kind. I can't remember what the item is. I'll be honest, it's been a while since I've done it. So instead, we have to do this rather annoying clip through the gate. Oh, I think I had it there. I just didn't drop the shaking quickly enough. Oh, that was clean. But yes, we go through here. This is known as Hogsmeade clip. And yeah, as a result, we'll be able to make our way to 6-2 pretty uninterrupted. You know, we are jumping about quite a bit in levels, but that's kind of the way it goes for this game, in all honesty. But yes, we play 6-2 now. 6-2 will start immediately with something we haven't seen yet, and that is an out-of-bounds door. So these are doors that were left in by the devs in order to, you know, test things and such. But they're all out of bounds, but they didn't realize that we could actually hit them with freeze clipping, because of course, as a dev, I have no idea how you would predict freeze clipping to happen, I'll be honest. So yeah, we're able to kind of go through the wall there, which we're not supposed to, and skip that section, which is very nice. It makes this level a lot quicker, because I believe that section is quite lengthy otherwise. There is also... Oh no, it's not that first. There is also an out-of-bounds door in this room, but we can't hit the out-of-bounds door in the final level of, or final room of each level, because although it progresses the, or it marks the level as complete, it doesn't progress the overall story, which is a weird little check that the devs put in. So we do have to do some rooms kind of slightly more casually, like this last room here. But in the grand scheme of things, it's not too bad. And now we spawned back in Hogwarts, but we don't want to be in Hogwarts, because we want to go and play 6-3, which is the level Not So Merry Christmas, and it takes place at the Burrow. The way we access this is very different. Once again, because, again, we don't have the normal way of accessing it kind of available to us right now. So instead, what I'm about to do is going to look very weird, because I'm going to take the Hogwarts train, Hogwarts Express, twice. We're going to take it from platform 9 3/4 to Hogsmeade Station. And then once we arrive in Hogsmeade Station, we're going to turn around and take it from Hogsmeade back home, because taking the train this direction is what starts the level. Very, very strange little thing for this game, or this level start in particular. This level also has a very nice skip here. This is known as washer clip because we clip using the side of the washing machine to skip that first room. We're going to be doing another clip here, which is infamous for being not very nice to runners. But surely, wow, Marathon RNG is actually working out well. That's surprising. And yeah, we have this section here. This is our first time kind of seeing Lupin in werewolf form. We don't need it for that long, but we do need it for longer than that, because I forgot there's a strength handle we need to do a bit further on up here. So Lupin in werewolf form has a few things he can do. He basically acts like Fang does, which is kind of funny to think of, but he has super strength and he can dig up patches of ground. So it's basically the exact same thing. Mechanically anyway. Which works out very usefully for us, because it gets us into this boss fight. This is the Bellatrix boss fight, and is a bit of a slower boss fight. There isn't too much to talk about here, so Skillet, if you're here and you have any messages you want to go for, go crazy. Okay. Might have caught you at a bad time there. That's unfortunate.
You caught me a little bit off guard
My bad.
regarding the messages, so don't worry. But I think I have something to say, at least, if you're, of course, more than all right, if I will talk a little bit
Go
for
for
a
it.
little bit while. I think it's important to talk about the key areas for the Trevor project, and there are mostly 5 of those key programs. First of all, it is crisis service, which is it's your suicide prevention and crisis intervention service to support via phone, text, and chat. I think we'll throughout the entirety of the event we've been talking about it, and that's basically one of the important key areas. The second one is, of course, advocacy, which is the fight for the policies and laws to protect LGBTQ young people, which again, it's quite important to fight those stuff uh, on the policies and law level, because I think this stuff. Of course, there's the research, the evolution that significantly, speaking is hard, improving the service and field for the Trevor project. Of course, peer support, which is world's largest, really cool, I must admit. Safe space social networking community. And communicating what the people's same interest in is really important. And of course, the public education, which is education around issues relevant to LGBTQ young people, and of course, the LGBTQ allies. That's it for me. Yeah, I see you already completed the fight. Meanwhile,
Yeah, no, fantastic. Thank you very much. That was actually the perfect time, I think. Yeah.
It's my job, King W.
Yeah, no, that works out really well, because we've just completed Reducto now, which is one of the spells we need in year 8, and we're now going back into year 5 to play Defindo, which is the spell we kind of left as the next thing to do in year 5 when we went to year 6 to do those final stretch of levels. But we can now complete this. Hopefully, yep. We can now complete this section, and this is going to give us all we need to be able to go into year 8 and go absolutely crazy on on the year. Also, I see we just have a Nixo raid as well. Welcome in, everyone.
Welcome in, Raiders, to some charity marathon. We have no other than Paxo, because some technical issues, but thank you again so much for that, Paxo. I will stress as much out of myself as possible. Thanking you out for basically helping us out at the last possible minute.
It's not a problem, not a problem at all. I'm happy to help out for, these kind of marathons and, helping to raise money for some of these great causes as well. But yes, looking at the game where we are just about to start year 8, which is, year 7 part 2. I need to rewire that into my brain. We all call it year 8 in the Lego side of things, but it is year 7 part 2. I need to make sure I'm on point for that for the HP community. But yeah, year 7 part 2. I'm gonna remember that. But yes, we are starting that. We have completed our shopping list of kind of everything we need in the rest of this, everything we need prior to this point, and we can play through the 6 levels in year 8 alongside a couple of other small things that we need to get along the way, which I hope I remember to get. But yeah, for those of you just coming in, we are doing restricted any %, which is any %, but some of the very, very high FPS tricks are banned. There's tricks which you can do, but they require at least 1200 FPS in kind of pause screens and such, which is, I can barely do some of them, but it's certainly not easy to do at all. And yeah, it's much better on my side of things to run restricted any %. But yeah, that is kind of the category. So it follows a very similar route to regular any %, but just has that kind of little bit of difference here and there. But yes, the first thing we're going to be doing here is another drop-in camera pan skip. So dropping in as a camera pan's about to start without running Hermione over, hopefully. And basically that means we skip the length of the camera pan, and we're going to use that to go into this room early. And the weird thing about this room is the moment you enter it, you can just leave it. So we leave it immediately, and that skips us having to that skips us having to play through the entirety of what is quite a long room with, I think it's the Hufflepuff Cup, from what I remember. And yeah, all the shenanigans that happened with that, shall we say. We just skip the entirety of that because we can clip straight back out. It's not the easiest clip to get, so honestly, I'm pretty surprised that I got it first try, but not going to be complaining, that's for sure. We then have, just to finish this section off, now have both characters dropped in here, and we get to take out some goblins from the back of a dragon to escape Gringotts. The positioning for this is a little bit weird. Hopefully you can get these all in one cycle. I definitely have missed the first cycle. Never mind, I got it. Wow, okay. That was, I think, skin of my teeth getting that. That was incredibly close. But yeah, that was actually pretty decent. I didn't quite get the extra 6th one you can get. You only need to take out 5, but sometimes you can get 6. And then we go into this small overworld section, and this overworld section is not going to look like much, but it is absolutely vital for this the entirety of this route. Because what we are going to do here is we are going to get this token, which we are currently fishing out right now. And this token will give us Albert Runcorn, which is, of course, who Harry transfigurates into in the raid on the Ministry. But we use it for a very different purpose. And that purpose is to completely... Oh, well, that purpose actually is what allows us to progress with the run. If we didn't get Albert Runcorn, we'd be in a lot of trouble here. Because, well, I'll explain that. Cross that bridge when we come to it, but keep that in mind for later. We definitely are thankful that Albert Runcorn spawns right there. In the meantime, however, we are going to be going through 8-2. This is quite a fun level, apart from the screaming alarm sound that you're going to hear in the background throughout the entirety of this level. There isn't much that can be done about that, but once we get through this room, thankfully that screaming sound does go away. We are going to do a small clip here, and this might not look like we do much with this or hit anything, but the trigger to end this section extends slightly into this wall here, so by doing a freeze clip, we just barely touch it. And yeah, by doing that, we're able to save a decent amount of time compared to playing that section normally. You have to do a lot with the what they're called. I think the Deluminator and such. There's a lot you need to do. If the game sound is low, honestly, in that section, you probably got away with it more than anything. The game audio does tend to fluctuate quite a lot in this game. It can be quite loud in places, it can be quite quiet, so it's always difficult to tell where to put it. But we finished this section here, and we'll be going into our kind of first major dueling section here, which is against against these two. We only need to defeat one of these guys. So I tend to choose the left guy. And the mechanic for dueling is very interesting in this game. Basically, the game will cycle through spells. It'll cycle through purple, red, blue, yellow, and orange, so long as you have them in your... so long as you have them on the character that you're using. And as a result, makes it very very easy to be able to tell once you know that it cycles just through them kind of in a clockwise direction. But it also means you can do some stuff. So if you're on a spell that is like that, you know that the duelist you're playing against will try to use as their next spell, then they'll skip that spell and go direct to the next one. Which means some spells which have kind of slower activation times. Some spells which have slower activation times will then, like, you're able to skip them, which is very nice. So, for example, here, I hover over the red one to get to the blue quicker. Admittedly, I did, unfortunately, get hit by a jet of water from Snape quicker than I was expecting. But we do it here again to get to the purple spell better. And this allows us to do what's known as double Aguamenti in this duel. Basically, Aguamenti is the fastest of any of the spells for dueling, so we want to be able to use it as much as possible. But with 8-2 complete, we have 4 levels left to play, kind of. And the next one, and another big one, is 8-3, which we have coming up. And the reason why this level is big is because there is a character token at the end of the first room, which is also one I absolutely need to get in this category. If I don't get it, we are in trouble. But hopefully I remember to do so. If not, you know, a reminder in chat would never hurt. But yeah, we'll see. It'll be after this kind of small camera pan. We'll be starting the level, and then at the end of that first room. There is also one specific jump in this first room. Yeah, thank you, Volky, much appreciated. There's also one specific jump in this first room, which is a kind of difficult jump known as Goo Jump. Which I will be going for. And I have said to myself, every time I miss it, it'll be a $10 donation to the to the Trevor Project. So hopefully it'll go well. First off, we've got to clip through this pylon, which can be really annoying sometimes. I think I'm through. Okay, good. Let's see how this jump goes. So it's this goo just to our right here. And okay, I got it first try. Okay, well now I just feel bad. I was really expecting myself, especially being rusty with this game, to miss it about 25 times. Maybe not 25 times, but at least 5 times. My bad, my bad. But yes, we this is where the final character token is that we need, which is the Grey Lady. For those of you who watched the 1 through 4 run before this, we also used the Grey Lady in that. But we used it in that one to be able to go through Ravenclaw doors. In this one, we go through completely different reasons, but we still need the same character. Also, my characters are the wrong way around. I need to be this way around, yeah. Oh, whoops. There we go. So what we're going to do here is another small camera pan skip just to get across this bridge here. Like so. And then we get to use Trevor, Neville's toad, to be able to go through this gap. And basically Neville's AI like jumps up a spot where he really shouldn't be able to. But that saves about I want to say 20 seconds or so just fitting through that gap with Trevor. That character token I already collected. We are good on character tokens. I hope. We should be. I've got to build this final firework. Oh, sorry. Dig up that final firework and place it in through the fire and the flames. And then, wait, I'm missing one. Which one did I miss? Oh, yes. Okay, that's a bit of rust. That's actually the first proper rust mistake I've made this run. But we're going to jump down here, shoot this spider web, and then collect that, or drop that in the right place. We have this whole room here where Ron magically learns Parseltongue to be able to speak through the vault. Or we can just freeze clip straight through it, like so. I think, yeah, that second option seems a lot easier in my book. We're going to build this spot for Hermione's bag. I don't know if I needed to do that. Oops. Yep. That's interesting physics there. Okay, we turned around on the spot. Good. Yes, this is the snake dentist final area.
While we're quickly providing some dentist help for our beloved Snap, I'd like to read something out really important because we have a new donation by no other than forgetful underscore Seymour and has said cat. I keep forgetting how to pronounce stuff, which stated, let's be Potterthon 7.2. Much love for to this amazing community with a pull towards Hufflepuff. What else can I say? That's pain for me. KW. But thank you so much for for the donation. That's it for me. Giving back the mic to you again, Paxo.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, thank you very much for those donations. I mean, $4 away from $200 now. Surely we can get that before the end of the run, right? I believe someone out there will donate that small amount of time. But yeah, any donations you give are absolutely going to a fantastic cause, are very much appreciated, not just by us, but of course to the whole community surrounding the Trevor project. Kind of anyone affected by similar issues, or those or in that kind of bubble, maybe know someone who's affected. you know, it's all going to a fantastic cause. So any donations are greatly appreciated. But yes, back to the game itself. We are in 8-4, the 4th level of Year 8. So we only have 3 levels left to go, this one and 2 more. But we're going to do a little bit of different parkour here. Because with Spectra Specs, you can see invisible pieces. But in the game, the invisible pieces still exist. So we're able to jump up to kind of this spot without, you know, without having Spectra Specs like we're supposed to. Or without, like, building, I think, a pair of stairs or something to get up. And yeah, that saves a decent amount of time. For those of you who do know the any percent route, this is or do know the normal any percent route, this is probably where the most differences are between normal any percent and what we see here. Okay, Hermione, please put Crookshanks down, please. Okay, thank you. There we go. But yeah, no, in the regular any percent version, you do a lot of kind of jumping around, or, well, flying around with the high FPS tricks to skip most of those first 2 rooms and also the final room. In this category, we're not going to do that. We are actually going to play them instead. I should have been Ron here. We'll see if I can get these buffer jumps. Okay, not today. I might give it one more try. Oh, nice. Those are a very interesting trick where you can just jump across the death plane. The reason they work is if you buffer a jump in the air, so you're pressing A, and then jump across. Oh, sorry, pressing A, and then in the air you re-grab A. When you land again, you'll get a first frame jump, which is very cool and nice, and saves. Well, in that area, it allows us to basically ignore anything else that can happen there. It saves a decent amount of time. So we're going to get Ron over to this platform and then drop out to get a camera pan skip here, which worked very nicely. Now, there is a Parseltongue thing behind here, but thankfully, because Ron has listened to Harry really, really well, he is now absolutely fluent in Parseltongue throughout the entire duration of the rest of this game. Which, I'm not sure how much I agree with that from a lore perspective, but hey, Lego logic is a magical thing in so many places. Alright. Just finishing up this level. And yeah, we're going to have only 2 levels left to go, which is crept on us pretty quick, but we do have a bit of stuff we have to do in between. We're going to go straight into the next level, though, which is 8-5. This level is Snape's Tears. Basically, we have to go and collect Snape's memories from the end of... yeah, from I think it's the boathouse in Hogwarts. Yeah, it is a sad level, but hey, that's the way it goes sometimes. We start from this door here, which is kind of a weird place to start this level, I always thought. But we start from here, and you notice I dropped out right before the start of the level. That is because we are going to do a drop-in camera pan skip the moment we load into this level. So hopefully it'll work. Okay, I was a tiny bit too early. There's like a very, very small window you can be too early, but it's really difficult to yeah, to get that to work, but it is what it is. Instead, we're going to do another trick here where I'm going to jump against this bit of collision, and that's going to give me the ability to build this thing on top, which I really should not be able to build. And we're going to use that twice to be able to clip in here and basically skip going up to that upper level like you're supposed to. We will then come over this way, and this is where Ron is going to have a debilitating fear of spiders. Yes, Volky, the loading screens are different per year. So we're currently obviously in year 7 part 2, so it's the year 7 part 2 loading screens, but we've had different ones throughout this run. So I've got to do this jump, which is another buffer jump. So re-grabbing the A button in the air to land on a bit of collision, which I can't see, to try and get round this area here. This is a very difficult jump, and yeah, I'm certainly not fresh at doing it either, which doesn't help things. I feel like that one was close. That one was too far inwards. There we go. Okay, so we get the jump here, and this means we skip that entire troll fight that kind of Harry was in. But we're here with Ron, and Ron gets scared. So he hits a trigger for getting scared here. But his criteria for getting scared or not at the moment is still set to the troll fight. So after a while, the game's going to realize, wait, there's no enemies in the troll fight itself. Unscares Ron, and he can move about freely, and we can complete this kind of section. So we're going to build the first thing here. I'm going to drop out, because we'll do another dropping camera pan skip here. Like so. And there'll be another one of those coming up as well. We need Ron over on this side because of this Weasley box. The Weasley boxes are only available to Weasley family members. So neither Harry or Hermione can use them. And then this room, we're going to have another skip here. Don't know if that worked or not. But what we are going to do is do another buffered super jump to get us out of bounds here. So we store the super jump, get out of bounds, and we can go around the entire room. And hit a door which ends this level. And that is absolutely vital for the route we're going for, because we can't actually end that level normally right now. Purely for the fact that we don't have focus, or I think it's called occlumency or something. I can't remember. So, as I said earlier though, if we end a level with the end door, which character am I looking for? That grey lady? Yes, okay. But yes, because we don't have that, it's a little bit different. But yeah, because we ended that level without playing the level normally, the game has marked the level as complete, but hasn't marked the story as progressed. Which means we need to go back in free play in order to be able to, you know, play that level properly, I guess. But in free play, this game is very broken because of the Grey Lady. It was found a while ago, like a year and a half maybe ago now, that if you load the area of Ravenclaw Tower in the overworld, where the Grey Lady is there as an NPC and goes up and down the stairs, if you load that area, then from that point on, the Grey Lady is in a state where every time she's off the ground, if she presses A... Well, that was not ideal. Where am I? Okay, I'm there. If you press A with the Grey Lady at any point, then you will all of a sudden get infinite height. Literally infinite height. You will just keep on going upwards as long as you want. And we use that to be able to skip a lot. It's only used in this level, in this category, but obviously as a result, free play as a category is incredibly broken. Replay story for this game takes about an hour, free play takes about 30 minutes because of Grey Lady flying. It's an incredibly broken strat. But as a result, we're able to skip this section a lot more. And yeah, because in free play we have access to Albert Runcorn, who has the focus spell by default, the occlumency spell by default, we're able to kind of clear that cloud above Snape's head and actually finish the level how we're supposed to. If we didn't do this, the only other way is in year 5, we have to play through at least another level or two to be able to unlock that spell. So this saves a decent amount of time. And like that, the level is completed. And we can now make our way through to the final level. So we are going to come in under estimate, barring any major shocks in the final level, which hopefully don't happen. But yeah, we're going to make our way through here. This is a route we haven't done before, through Nocturne Alley. But once you get past a certain point, I think in year 6, we have access to the Vanishing Cabinet. And this is obviously the Vanishing Cabinet that I think the Death Eaters use to get into Hogwarts or something. I can't remember. But we use it to get back into Hogwarts for 8-6 for this final level, as it's way faster movement. And I think only the movement we can do. Yeah, I think it's the only movement we can do in this particular part. So it works out really well. And yeah, as a result, we'll be going to the final level very soon, just have this kind of small bit of overworld movement. And I will say the final level is quite short. I think the individual level record for the final level is 14 seconds. It'll take me longer, I have no doubt of that. But hopefully, if all goes well, it shouldn't take much more than maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes from here. Probably even less than that, actually. We'll go down into 8-6, though. This is where the final level starts. And basically, this is meant to be a giant, like, 12-minute level or something, where you do so many boss fights, you switch to so many characters, like Kingsley's there, Tonks is there, I think. Maybe, I don't know. So many different characters are out and about around Hogwarts as they're kind of dueling the Death Eaters. But instead, we are going to clip Hermione out of bounds here, hopefully. And the devs once again left in an invisible door for us to be able to hit. Hopefully. If all goes well. Yeah, an invisible door for us to hit. And that door will instantly end the level. As long as it works. But we need to get ourselves out of bounds first. This clip can be annoying. Hopefully it works sometime soon? Question mark. Is it going to happen? Come on. You got this game. Okay, there we go. We're out of bounds. Cool. And now what we got to do is navigate this out of bounds kind of terrain, being very careful not to go inbounds and accidentally progress the story. We jump down here around, and time is coming up in like 3 seconds. Maybe not, a little bit longer than that. Time will end when I hit this door, which is... There we go. Time. Got there in the end. That wasn't the easiest door to hit, but hey, we're underestimate. Sub 120 RTA as well. That's not bad at all for a quite a short notice run. But hey, that's how it goes sometimes.
GG's, Pax. It was, well, an interesting show off, to say at least. I'm really happy that you were able to help us out again. I would like to, third time is a charm, as they say. Thank you again for helping us out in this, well, let's say, an interesting situation. Uh, I'm like, I'm incredibly thankful for that, and of course, the run was incredible. I will say it was interesting to see, and it was just a cool show for the Lego. community. Do you have any final words to say?
Yeah, I'll rehash the shout outs I did at the end of the previous run actually. Yeah, the Harry Potter years 1 through 4 run, because it is the same things. Obviously, huge shout outs to everyone who's helped out with putting this marathon together. It's always fantastic when I can to be able to kind of run at these Potterthon events, kind of you know join up and communicate with a lot of the HP people, as well as some of the Lego people, which I'm kind of associated with as well. So it's really nice to kind of have that mesh between the two communities, that like bridge between them. And yeah, shout outs on the Lego side of things to the other series mods for these games. So We Super, Chimkin, Laser Trap, Prince, and Gus. All of them absolutely fantastic people. Shout outs to my fellow Harry Potter years 1 through 4 mods as well, or Harry Potter mods, Lego Harry Potter mods as well, which is Chimkin, Force, and Chester. And yeah, shout outs to all you guys. I know this was a late notice run, but it's always fun to kind of show off these games, and I think yeah, thank you very much for giving me the platform and the confidence in me to be able to do so. It was really fun.
Absolutely. I'm going to jump in here real quick and just say, from an organizer side of things, for that joined us in the raid, you might be looking at the schedule thinking, this is an HP2PC Wars cards. Well, my name was a bit of an idiot, and long story short, we didn't have a Sammy Pebbles. So Paxo very kindly was like, I can do another one if you want, and very graciously has done a 5 to 7 any percent one for us there. Definitely go check out Paxo and the Lego community. You can find links to the Lego Discord in the Lego HP Discord, I should say, in all of the Harry Potter speedrunning Discords and the resources channels. So definitely go and check them out. They're cool runs, even if you just go and watch some of them if you want to get involved. I'm sure. Would you say? I'm sure you would say it's an easy sort of community to get into, Paxo?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, both these communities are very friendly, open communities, and it's yeah. If you have any questions or anything in either community whatsoever, then feel free to ask. I think there's a ton of helpful people on hand for any of these games on kind of any side of things. So yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah, extra special thank you, as I say, to Paxo for jumping in at the very last minute. And if anything, giving us a bit of an earlier finish tonight. But we do still have one more run, so I'm gonna shut up now and hand over to the actual host again. I just wanted to say, from the organization side, a huge thank you, because we could have been very, very screwed if you hadn't stepped up. So I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And as a host myself, I would also love to say the same stuff to you through the hosting side, because if not you, not only the organizing team would be in a little bit of a strange feeling, but also myself, who's supposed to do the hosting here. So again, don't forget, please, if you like the performance Paxo showed, if you overall enjoyed the present of Paxo, follow is really important. And of course, thank you again for all of provided work. And sadly, I'll have to say, Paxo, bye for now. Uh, you'll still be back as a commentary, though, but still be back. So hope to see you. And we finally gonna jump to the last, sadly, round for today, which is gonna be HP1 PC high jump. With never mind, we didn't start with HP1 PC. Oh damn it would be so beautiful if we would. But anyway, HP1 PC high jump by Luzak. Stick around because we are gonna be back in just a bit. Bye bye.